I'm Emily Schickner. I'm a principal architect at Harrison Design, and I went to Georgia Tech for my master's, graduated in 2013, and now I practice all across the country, mainly focused here in Atlanta, Georgia. I serve on the College of Design Advisory Board here at Georgia Tech, which is absolutely amazing under the leadership of Dean Bassett. It's really incredible experience. And then was in the 2025 40 under 40 class, alumni class here at Georgia Tech. You know, great representation here as Georgia Tech alumni may have gone to undergrad and grad. And while I only was here for 2 years, I think those 2 years were profoundly impactful on where my professional career went from that point. Jennifer Bonner had an incredible impact on how I viewed iconic structures and getting a little more dirty, a little more, it's not just about being hands-on, but destructive. I'm not going to take something anymore and consider it a norm. I'm going to question it and see how I can make it better and turn it around for the better good of all. That was an incredible way of kind of blowing up a traditional educational mindset and looking at it from a different avenue and path. Bringing that from Georgia Tech to our national organization for architects and kind of delivering that message across the country has been really amazing. First and foremost, I felt very much treated as an individual here at Georgia Tech. I was spoken to, I was talked with, I was helped, I was educated in a way that worked best for me as an individual and for the collective group of the class. That being said, going out into the professional world, we have a huge road ahead of us to help with the disproportionate numbers that we're seeing in representation in architects. It's not just the female to male ratio. We're talking about representation of all different demographics. So when somebody comes from an experience, I believe, came from my home life, all the way through my education, where I was uplifted in an individual manner, but not because of maybe a demographic that I served. When someone is uplifted in that manner, I think they feel like they can stand on their own 2 feet and not be fighting up against challenges that may be very visible and clear to others, but instead say, that's not a challenge for me, that's an opportunity, because nobody's looked at me that way. And education, we know, has a profound impact. It starts at home. But the way we cultivate and cater and nurture the individuality that is self-identified. And I started to identify myself as an architect. I wanted to be an architect and I wanted to do it by 30. And everyone supported me around me to get me there. I am seeing that support come into play 15 years into my career, more so, like even more so now in different ways. The way Georgia Tech supports the community around it, but also supports the world. It goes much bigger. It is all about, you know, that connectivity and how we can help each other. That's what Georgia Tech stands for. We were a solid core. No matter where we were, that was our home. And my dad was an agriculture engineer, so we grew up, we spent a lot of our upbringing over in Tokyo. I wasn't from the South at all. It was a really tough time for the country. The economy had crashed. I was really proud to have my job down here, but when I started grad school down here was the first time I felt like I was a part of something bigger and that this could be my family. I had no money, and I remember my mom saying to me, you don't always have to buy something for someone to be able to pay them back. You can find another way. I think from an education standpoint, funds are incredibly valuable and important, and an extreme part of how the operation of the school can keep doing what it's doing, the philanthropic side of it. But philanthropy goes a lot of different directions, and I think it's wonderful to admit that. There are a lot of ways to give, and there are a lot of ways to share.